My cousin said I wasn't fun enough for her trip, then abandoned her kids at my place owing me $10,000. So I called the cops. So, my cousin Nellie decided not to invite me to her bachelorette party, saying it was just for her close friends. But then she had the nerve to ask me to babysit her kids. My parents backed her up, saying, "You don't have anything better to do anyway." So, instead of sulking, I booked myself a spontaneous trip to a beach resort. Imagine this, I'm chilling by the ocean, sipping cocktails, while she's blowing up my phone, waiting outside my house with her kids. It was the first time in 28 years I finally stood up to her, and let me tell you, it felt amazing. I should have done it ages ago. Our relationship was always one-sided. I was always doing things for her, and she never hesitated to ask. My therapist had been saying for months that I needed to set boundaries, but I kept making excuses because, well, she's family and it's complicated. Deep down, I was scared of being labeled the bad guy in the family. Growing up, it was always the same story. If she forgot her lunch, I had to share mine. If she had a project, I was the one burning the midnight oil. If she threw a tantrum, I was told to be the bigger person. Fast forward to adulthood, and nothing changed. Nellie had 2 kids, and I somehow became the default babysitter. She'd drop them off with no notice, assuming I had nothing better to do. Plans? Too bad. Busy? Make time. My life started to revolve around Nellie's demands, wearing me down like water eroding rock. Every time I tried to set a boundary, she'd guilt-trip me, saying, "We're family. Family helps each other." Yeah, but that help only went one way. Like last winter, when I was hospitalized with pneumonia, and she couldn't even bother to visit. 3 days after I got out, she texted, asking if I could watch her kids because she had concert tickets. I've put up with this for years. Then she got engaged to Jason, a wealthy real estate guy who doted on her. When she called to share the news, she spent 45 minutes talking about the proposal, the massive ring, and their fancy wedding plans, without once asking about how I was doing or mentioning the promotion I told her about. I knew I'd end up doing a ton for her wedding, planning, dress shopping, errands, and, of course, babysitting. I promised myself to be supportive but within limits because it was her big day. But the bachelorette party situation threw me. I was scrolling Instagram and saw a friend's post about Nellie's upcoming bachelorette bash. I assumed I'd hear about it soon, but days passed with no invite. So I asked her casually, "Hey, are you doing a bachelorette trip?" She was like, "Oh yeah, but it's just a small group of close friends." Ouch. I thought I was her close cousin. When I said I assumed I'd be invited, she said she didn't think I'd be into it and didn't want me to feel out of place. Out of place? Seriously? I was crushed, but I kept my cool. I later found out from Jess, a mutual friend, that Nellie told everyone I was too stressed and would kill the vibe. Apparently, liking chill conversations over clubbing made me unfit for her party. It hit me hard. I kept telling myself it wasn't a big deal, but deep down, something shifted. That little voice inside me, which had been whispering for years, was finally shouting, "Enough is enough." Then, 2 days before my vacation, Nellie called. She never calls unless she wants something. I picked up, knowing where this was going. "Hey, can you watch the kids this weekend? Our sitter bailed," she said. I almost laughed. She excluded me from her party because it was just for her closest friends, but needed me now? So, I've got this close buddy, Nellie. But out of the blue, she suddenly expects me to drop everything and babysit for her so she can take off. I just let her keep talking. "Nellie, please. It'd help me so much. You know how tough it is to find a sitter last minute. Plus, I know you love hanging out with them." There it was, the guilt trip. I was ready to say no when I had a thought. Instead of giving her an answer right away, I told her I'd get back to her later. She seemed kinda relieved and said, "Thanks, cuz. I knew I could count on you." After hanging up without making any promises, I sat at my kitchen table, just staring at the wall. My hands were a bit shaky, not just from being mad, but from this new feeling of being at a turning point. For more than 30 years, I'd been trained to say yes to Nellie, always putting her needs above mine. My therapist's words echoed in my head, "What would happen if you put yourself first for once?" That's when the idea hit me, why not give myself a break too? I deserve it. So, after a moment of hesitation, I went online and booked a last-minute getaway to Ocean Beach Resort, a place I'd been dying to visit for ages. I got a confirmation email with a satisfying ping, $1,274.86 for 3 nights in a room with an ocean view, breakfast, and 1 spa treatment included. It was a splurge, for sure, but the sense of freedom was totally worth it. I spent the night packing, choosing comfy clothes and finally taking the tags off my new swimwear. I threw in my Kindle, packed with 3 novels I'd been meaning to read, and a journal I hadn't even opened yet. This weekend was all about me, no responsibilities, no guilt trips, and no Nellie. Nellie called the night before she was supposed to leave. Her name popped up, and I felt that usual mix of anxiety. I took a deep breath and answered casually. Nellie, about tomorrow, I actually booked a trip for myself this weekend, so I won't be around to babysit. Silence. Then, wait, what do you mean you booked a trip? You never go anywhere. I brushed off her little dig and said, yeah, well, figured it was time to do something fun for myself. Hope you figure things out. She started freaking out. But wait, what? You can't just leave. What am I supposed to do with the kids? I replied, not sure. Maybe ask one of your close friends, she gasped. Oh my God, you're being so petty right now. I shrugged it off and said, just putting myself first this time, like you did. Before she could say anything else, I told her I needed to go, turned off my notifications, and hit the sack. The next morning, I got up early, grabbed my stuff, and took off. I was chilling on the beach, drink in hand, listening to the waves when my phone started going crazy with missed calls, voicemails, and angry texts. The first one was from Sarah. Where are you? I'm at your house. Then Nellie, you said you'd help me. Even my mom called. I let it go to voicemail, but she kept calling, so I finally answered. Mama, Nellie's outside your house with the kids. What's going on? I took another sip of my drink and said, I told her I wouldn't be home. I've got my own plans this weekend. She replied, wait, so she expected you to babysit, without even asking first? Yep. Silence. Then, Mom, I see. For once, she didn't yell or call me selfish. She actually seemed fed up with Nellie's drama. Now I'm just sitting by the ocean, enjoying the sunset while my phone keeps buzzing on the table. Nellie's still outside my house, blowing up my phone, and I'm deciding if I should even bother responding. Maybe after I finish my drink, I'll see about getting back to her. The waves kept crashing, the breeze was warm, and my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Nellie wasn't giving up. After a few minutes, my phone rang again, but this time it wasn't her, it was my dad. He only calls when things are really bad. I sighed, picked up, and braced myself. Dad asked, where are you? I'm at the beach, taking a break, I replied. Nellie's crying in front of your house with the kids, saying you abandoned them, he said. I closed my eyes, took a slow breath, and answered, I didn't abandon anyone, Dad. I never agreed to babysit. He said, you know she had plans this weekend. She needed your help. There it was, the usual spiel that I should always step up. I said, she uninvited me from her trip. I wasn't close enough to be included, but I'm supposed to be her free babysitter? Not this time. Dad was quiet for a while and then said, I get that you're upset, but family looks out for each other. I gave a quick laugh. Does Nellie look out for me? Has she ever? Or am I just expected to drop everything for her? More silence. Then, something unexpected happened. My dad said, your mother and I are. So there I was, all comfy in my chair, when I got the news, we're heading to pick up the kids, they said. I perked up and asked, wait, are you going to Nellie's place? The reply threw me off, nope, your house. It turned out she left the kids at my place and just took off. I slowly felt anger bubbling up. I mean, seriously? Nellie just dumped her kids at my doorstep without even finding a babysitter or making any other plans. I was fuming but tried to keep it cool with another sip of my drink. How long ago? I asked. Dad, about 20 minutes, was the answer. Your mom and I are halfway there already. I took a deep breath. Nellie actually thought I'd freak out, rush home, and take over, like always. But not today. I said, good. Let me know when you get them, and hung up. I gazed at the ocean, trying to chill. I felt bad for the kids, they had no clue they were being used for some strange guilt trip by their mom. I thought about calling Nellie but knew what would happen, she'd play the victim, and suddenly, I'd look like the bad guy for not taking the kids in. Not worth it. A little later, Dad texted, we have them. I exhaled, relieved. Then another text came, we're taking them to our place. Your mom is livid. That made me pause. Mom, mad? That was new. She always found ways to let Nellie off the hook. But this? This pushed her too far. Then bam, Nellie texted me. How could you get Mom and Dad involved? She whined, making me the bad guy. I rolled my eyes at her messages. "Nelly, you're seriously blowing this out of proportion," she said. Then came the kicker, "You're dead to me." I locked my phone, took a deep breath, and tried not to let her ruin my weekend. Yet, I had a feeling it wasn't over. Ignoring her angry texts, I kicked back in my lounge chair. The sunset over the ocean was gorgeous, everything glowing in golden and orange hues. But I couldn't fully relax. Nelly isn't the type to just drop things. She's a pro at shirking responsibility and twisting situations to her advantage. I sighed, taking a slow sip of my drink, and checked my phone again. 42 unread messages. Most were from Nelly, with some from Mom. I skimmed through Mom's texts first. "We've got the kids. Nelly isn't answering our calls. Can you call when you can?" It was weird, Nelly was blowing up my phone with texts but ghosting them. I hesitated but opened her messages anyway. It was the usual guilt trip. "I hope you're happy. You ruined everything. You embarrassed me in front of everyone. Then, told my friends what you did. They all agree, you're a terrible cousin." I sighed. She's so used to me being the responsible one, the good cousin. Because I didn't roll over for her this time, she was painting me as the villain. An hour later, as I was wrapping up dinner at the resort's open-air restaurant, my phone buzzed. Expecting more drama from Nelly, I picked it up. But it wasn't her, it was my neighbor. "Hey, are you home? Someone's pounding on your door." My heart sank. "Who is it?" I texted back. "I think it's Nelly. She's yelling your name." Of course, she was. Apparently, our parents weren't giving in this time, and now she was at my door, probably ready to yell at me. "I'm out of town," I replied. "Yeah, she's not happy. What should I do?" my neighbor asked. "Just ignore her," I said, though she was apparently waking up the whole street. This wasn't like her usual drama. What was she trying to do? Cause a scene? Get me to rush home? If so, it wasn't working. Then, 15 minutes later, another message came from Dad. "Nelly showed up here demanding the kids back." I frowned. That didn't make sense. She'd left them, ignored our calls, and now she wanted them back? So, I got this weird feeling something was really off. My phone buzzed with a text from my neighbor saying, "Man, Nelly's acting super weird, and it's just not like her. See, Nelly's got her quirks, she can be entitled and a bit manipulative, but she's always been super responsible with her kids. So when she bailed on them, it raised some major red flags. It's like she was pulling another one of her stunts to prove a point, but this time, something seemed different." Then, my neighbor texted me again saying, "So, Nelly left, but like 5 minutes later, this sketchy dude showed up looking for her." My stomach dropped. I was like, "Wait, what guy?" And my neighbor described him as tall and kinda rough looking. He knocked a few times, scoped the place out, and then took off. I was freaking out because Nelly's not the type to hang out with guys like that. She usually only surrounds herself with people who can help her leverage her way up. Who was this dude, and why was he sniffing around for her? I scrolled back to Nelly's last message. She said, "Hope you're having a blast while I'm falling apart." At first, I thought she was just being dramatic, but now I wasn't so sure. Something felt really wrong. Nelly's got her erratic moments, but this was different. We're talking about someone who ditched her kids, wanted them back, and then this random guy showed up at my house. None of it added up. I tried to brush it off and enjoy my weekend, but my gut was screaming at me to do something. So, I did the unthinkable. I called Nelly, and of course, she didn't pick up. I tried again, straight to voicemail. With no other option, I called my dad. He picked up right away. I asked, "Dad, what's going on?" He sighed and said Nelly stormed in demanding her kids back, but my mom refused until she explained herself. Nelly lost her cool, saying we were all against her. I pressed, "Did she say why she left them?" Dad said, "Not really. She only mentioned she needed to fix something before it was too late." When I asked what she needed to fix, Dad admitted she didn't say. She even stopped him from calling the cops, claiming she had it all under control, which was totally unlike her. Nelly always painted herself as the victim and wouldn't miss a chance to get the police involved if she felt threatened. The night dragged on, and just like I feared, around 2 a.m., my phone buzzed loudly on the nightstand. It was Mom. "Nelly's at our house with that guy again," she said. I shot out of bed, panic setting in. "He followed her there?" I asked. "Yep, and they were having it out on the front lawn. I told Mom to call the cops." "Your dad already did, but Nelly keeps insisting we don't," she said. I was already throwing on clothes and rushing to check out of the resort. "I'm coming home," I said, hanging up before she could convince me otherwise. Nelly had dragged us into her chaos, and I had to see it firsthand. By the time I got to our parents' place, police cars were parked out front. Nellie was a wreck on the porch, tears streaming down her face. The man was pacing the sidewalk, clearly pissed off. Didn't know him at all. He wasn't Nellie's type, period. A cop stood between them, trying to calm things down. I parked, heart beating out of my chest. As soon as I stepped out, Mom rushed over. "I told you not to come," she scolded. I shrugged, too late. I looked between Nellie and the guy, and asked Mom, "Who is that?" She just shook her head, clueless. I turned to Nellie, "Nellie, who is that?" She wouldn't even meet my gaze. Instead, the guy turned to me, "Oh, you're the cousin, the one who left her hanging." I blinked, taken aback. "Excuse me?" He mimicked me mockingly, "I need a weekend to myself, I can't be there for my own cousin." His words sent a chill through me. "Nellie, did you tell him about me?" Still, she wouldn't look at me. He laughed. "Of course, she did. She said you're why she's stuck in this mess." I was fuming. "Nellie, what mess?" The guy jumped in, "The money." My heart skipped. "What money?" He sneered, $10,000 she owes me." I felt like my world crumbled. I turned to Nellie, desperate, "Tell me he's lying." Finally, she looked up, pale, eyes red-rimmed. She whispered, "I needed the money for the wedding." I stared at her, bewildered. "You borrowed money from him? Why?" She dabbed her face and shook her head, "I thought I could pay it back before he came looking." The guy chuckled, "Well, you thought wrong." I faced him, angry, "You're a loan shark?" He replied, "I prefer businessmen." I snapped, "Sure, and you thought causing a scene would get your money any faster?" He shrugged, "She wasn't answering my calls, so here we are." I turned back to Nellie, "Is this why you left the kids with me?" She covered her face, mumbling, So here's the scoop, I didn't want anyone around if things went south, so I just shut my eyes." She played me. Nellie tried to get me to babysit her kids while she dealt with a loan shark. When I said no, she went ahead anyway, putting us all in the line of fire because she wouldn't own up to her mess. I was over it. After the police took a statement and escorted the guy away, Nellie tried apologizing to our parents, but they weren't having it. Dad told her, "You put your kids and everyone else in harm's way, Nellie." Mom chimed in, saying, "And you tried to pin it on your cousin." Nellie just cried, saying she didn't know what else to do. I stood there, unmoved, just plain tired. My take, "Figure it out, Nellie." She looked at me wide-eyed, asking if I was just going to walk away. I said, "Yes." For the first time ever, I didn't feel the need to clean up her mess. She caused this chaos, so she had to fix it. I left and drove off. We didn't speak for weeks. That silence actually felt kinda nice, and I found myself sleeping better, focusing more on work, and reconnecting with old friends. Even my therapist noticed a change. She said, "You seem more relaxed." Later, I heard from our cousin, Haim, that Nellie was made to sell some of her fancy wedding items to pay off her debt. Her designer dress was swapped for something more modest, the grand cake got downsized, and the huge guest list was cut down. The wedding was held locally instead of the Bahamas. From the pics Haim showed me, it still looked pretty, but Nellie's smile seemed forced, like she was still bitter. I wasn't at the wedding, not even invited. Nellie apparently told everyone I bailed on her when she needed me most, playing the victim while painting me as the bad guy. 5 years ago, this would have crushed me, but now, I didn't really care what Nellie or her friends thought. On her wedding day, I finally went on that hike to the waterfall at Redwood State Park that I'd always wanted to do. Sitting on a sun-warmed rock by the river, I felt at peace. No guilt, no resentment, just happy to be where I wanted to be. The day after the wedding, my parents called. There was some awkwardness since they'd enabled Nellie for so long, but they were trying to change. My mom invited me for dinner the next Sunday and made it clear that Nellie wouldn't be there, a small but meaningful step. Life goes on. Nellie and Jason are expecting their third child now. We see each other at family events and keep things polite but distant. She no longer asks me to babysit or run errands. Sometimes, I catch her looking at me with a mix of resentment and perhaps a bit of respect, recognizing our relationship has shifted. As for me, I'm dating someone who respects my time and boundaries. I've taken 3 more solo trips over the past year, each reminding me of that first life-changing beach trip. I've learned that setting boundaries and saying no doesn't make me selfish. For the first time, I'm putting myself first and have no regrets. Occasionally, I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't stood up to Nellie, if I'd kept playing the doormat. That thought sends a shiver down my spine. That beach trip wasn't just a vacation, it was the start of truly living my life. Sure, the journey's had its bumps, but I wouldn't trade my newfound freedom for anything. I've learned 1. I control my time. 2. Guilt doesn't pay my bills. And 3. Helping others doesn't mean losing myself. These values now guide me, and they've transformed my relationship with Nellie and the world around me. It took 28 years to learn, but better late than never. Thanks for sticking around and diving into this wild family drama with me. If you're into Reddit family drama, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more.